While I did actually watch the original ThunderCats and had a fair bit of an interest in it, there was always something that kept me from completely loving the original ThunderCats like other people did. I had fun with it, yeah, and I even had a Lion-O toy when I was much younger. But whenever I did catch an episode, because it was reruns, the series had aired long before I was born, and even finished airing before I was born. I often never really caught the episodes that were really prevalent to the plot. And I always thought that was a bit of a shame because I was always deeply interested because not just the opening was pretty good, but I thought a lot of the initial premise was fun. And I was never the biggest fan of the idea of Lion-O being essentially a child in the body of an adult. That never quite sat well with me. Mostly because in the episodes I did watch of the original ThunderCats, he never felt that way. He just felt like a generic adult for the most part, like He-Man. Although I was always a fan of Mum-Ra. Mostly his transformations were always cool. He was just so spooky. So when the reboot came around in 2011, I was ready to enjoy this. I was more than ready. I was just like, okay, finally, maybe this'll be the thing to help get me into ThunderCats. And when it first started off, it was fascinating to me. Lion-O wanting to be a hero, there wasn't the situation of events taking place on another planet. No, this is in their homeland. The relationship between Lion-O and Tigra was actually kind of fascinating to me. I was interested to see where things would go. But as it went on, there were elements that I feel just came up and then disappeared way too quickly. The one thing that really bugged me was the love triangle between Lion-O, Tigra, and Chitara that always felt like something that was just so unnecessary and at the very least wasn't given enough room to really breathe so that it was an acceptable situation. And Panthro and his basically involvement in the release of Mum-Ra and the guilt he felt, that felt like that was something heavy for the character to deal with. But by the time everyone had fully come together, all the ThunderCats had come together, it felt like a lot of his guilt just wasn't as consistently there as it should have been. He would question Lion-O's lead in one instance and then follow it in the next, and that felt weird to me. Wily Kit and Wily Cat, they were pretty okay. Didn't really have too much of a problem with them. But, I don't know. Something about the direction they took this series in just never quite sat right. And personally, I think it probably would have done better with more time as they had grown to develop it as it went. But with only one season, it just really didn't get that chance. And that is a bit of a disappointment because there was just so much potential for this series. I wanted to enjoy it far more than I did, but there was just always something kind of lacking from it. Like certain plot elements just never quite clicked or were given enough room to be developed upon. It felt almost like they weren't quite sure what they wanted to focus on in the beginning and just started kind of throwing things in to hopefully be developed maybe in season 2. And the fact that they never got a season 2 really injured the series. I just continue to be surprised that nothing more came from this series. I feel that it was maybe a little too early. Like, maybe if it had come around the same time as Voltron, it might have done just a little bit better. I'm talking about the Voltron reboot that did pretty well in the beginning, but shot itself in the foot with its ending. And honestly, I see some of the same problems that were in the final season of Voltron in the first season of ThunderCats, as though they had just had too many ideas and concepts that they hadn't just given their due. Not enough characters who got to fully just be fleshed out enough to a point where you felt satisfied in the direction where they were ending up or where they were going. And I never really gave a chance to Thundercats Roar, which I probably should. I do tend to give things much more of a chance, but the art style just was not grabbing me. I can take comedy, but this one felt like people hated on it too much. Like, I hate the fan mentality that, oh, if you stray away from how the original was, that's no good. It's just like, I mean, dude, you can have whatever. It's not like with Teen Titans Go, where they were basically cribbing off of the original. I mean, Thundercats Roar came after the 2011 reboot, which was the more serious, kind of gritty reboot a lot of people were hoping for to a certain extent, but maybe it just wasn't gritty enough. Maybe some people just weren't feeling the anime style. I don't know, it just feels like Thundercats keeps coming back and it never quite comes back to the capacity that would help to bring it back into the popularity of its heyday. And even considering the He-Man Revelation series, Master of the Universe Revelation series, that didn't get much love from the fans either, despite the fact that it did try to be a grittier version of He-Man. But even when they went in that direction, it wasn't exactly what people wanted. It kind of seems like people just want the same thing but more serious. And I mean, if you just want that, okay, but I mean, to a certain degree, if there's no greater identity to the series outside of that, then what's the point? But I will say deeply that by the end of the first season of the 2011 reboot of Thundercats, I did honestly feel like it just hadn't earned the team that it got. The Thundercats just was not assembled by the end of that. And that's something that the original had over it. The original, they felt like a team. At all times, they always felt like a team. And that was really something that, hell, even Thundercats Roar kind of got better. So I do have to wonder, is it going to be another 10 years potentially before we get another Thundercat series, before we try this again? Because that seems to kind of be the direction that this is going in. And if that's the case, I mean, fans, guys, you're not really giving yourself much at this point. You know, Thundercats keeps coming back only to die after one season. And I have to wonder what it's going to take to actually manage to keep it on the air. But hey, tell me your thoughts in the comment section below. What was your favorite Thundercat series? Do you wish the 2011 series had gotten a little bit more love, or maybe even more better planning, honestly? And what did you think about Thundercats Roar? Do you think it might have been able to go the distance and stick around longer if maybe the 2011 series had got to run its course? And how do you feel about it? Are you a fan of Thundercats? Or do you just have a passing interest and feel that it's ultimately not worth the drama? I feel at the rate a lot of the fan community goes in, they're creating environments where no new fans of these series will ever really come to the forefront, because there's just going to constantly be this barrier of inaccessibility. But hey, what do I know? Let me know your thoughts. If you like this video, please like, comment, subscribe, and hit the bell for notifications. And until next time, I've been Duuz-Diz-Din, and I will see you later. Bye-bye.